Erik ten Hag will remain as the Manchester United manager going into the 24-25 Premier League season. This has been confirmed exclusively by David Ornstein that the end of season review has been concluded and the decision is to keep Erik ten Hag in his positions. He will remain at Old Trafford, hold negotiations over a contract extension, according to this report. Make sure like buttons have been hit. Make sure you are subscribing. The big breaking news is here. Let's go. This was the news that everybody was waiting for, talking about and focused on at Man United. Who will be the head coach in charge next season? Talks have taken place with the likes of Thomas Tuchel, consideration placed towards the likes of Gareth Southgate and De Zerbi. And there were some earlier reports today that essentially suggested that Manchester United were not convinced, not blown away, not enthused or excited about the candidates that they interviewed. They did not believe that they were a significant improvement upon what Manchester United already had. So the situation as it remains is they're going to continue with the new structure. They're going to continue with the football decision-making being done by the likes of Wilcott and Dan Ashworth and Barada when he arrives, and they will be instructing Ten Hag to be the first time this has happened at the club as well, the first head coach that the club has ever had. On a personal level, this is not what I particularly wanted. I felt a clean break was the right thing to do. However, I'm going to be true to my word and remain completely objective. I'm going to support the process, the rebuild, and trust the football decision makers that in the medium to long term, this is going to set Manchester United on the right path and get us back to winning the very biggest and best trophies in world football. We don't always get what we want. As promised, I'm not showing my ass. I'm not going crazy. And I'm not going to start saying it's an absolute disaster and we will fail. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. And Sean, I see your comment there. It's exactly what I've said all along. It's not what I wanted. I don't personally feel that this is the best way to improve us and get us back to the top as quickly as possible. However, I'm going to trust the key decision makers, the key football decision makers that are now at Manchester United that I have been asking for a decade. I'm going to put some faith in them to see how this goes. And John here says, are you Ten Hag in now, Terry? It's not about Ten Hag in. It's not about Ten Hag out. It wasn't about De Zerbi in, De Zerbi out. As I stated all along, go back and watch the videos. Even if we got the manager of my choice, I would not be going crazy with excitement and what we're going to do and what we're going to achieve. I said, if the manager stays, I will not be going crazy. I said, if we get a manager in that I don't want like Southgate, I won't be going crazy. So I am simply going to remain very true to my word that I said from the beginning, which is that I am going to give this rebuild time to marinate, time to cook. I'm going to taste the fruits of the labor to see how it comes out. For me, there is no point panicking at this particular juncture of this situation. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your feelings. The news, as everybody has seen, has come directly from Fabrizio Romano. Review is done. He remains at the football club, but everybody's going to have an opinion on this. Everybody's going to want to have their say about this. So, of course, we're going to be opening up the lines for you very, very soon to come on and have your say. The interesting element is there's going to be talks of a contract extension, which I think would be a massive shock to a lot of people, a lot of Man United fans out there that felt that, you know, he was coming to the end of the road. What do you think? What do you feel in relation to this? We want to gauge your opinions. We want to know what's going through your minds. We want to know what you think and what you feel. Of course, get the like button smashed if you haven't done that already. The biggest question is why the hell not? Get the damn like button smashed. Make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace because, of course, that's a very, very important element that we need you to do for us. And, of course, make sure you're in our transfer group chat as well. Let's go to some of your comments that are coming through here. That says 100% great news is what Star-Lord said. And you know, I will say that there are a lot of Man United fans out there who have been desperate. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I mean that in a positive way. Desperate for Ten Hag to stay. Desperate for Ten Hag to be given a chance. I'm just going to remain true to myself. Like I've said, I will do all along. I am just going to be objectively supportive about whatever they decide to do and give it time. Because you know, it's like in life. You don't always get what you want, essentially. You don't always get what you want. You don't always get the things that, the things that you desire. But I've got the biggest thing that was important to me, and that is football decision makers making the decisions at my football club. So based on me guessing what I personally wanted, I almost feel greedy and disrespectful to suddenly start criticizing and going mad at every single individual decision that they make. This here says standards in the mud. Absolutely not. Standard FC have no place at Manchester United right now. Although their standards are where you want them to be in terms of the pinnacle of the sport, the problem is with Standard FC, who say standards in the mud, right, is that they have no appreciation for the starting point of which you're at. By their logic, a week in the gym and some skinny 8-stone guy should be looking like Pete Arney. That's ridiculous. You can't get to that point that quickly. There is a stage and a process to this. Man United are broken. Man United have been in the doldrums, and we need to be patient through this, in my personal opinion. This year has made the exact same decision as the Glazers would. You need to break that down for me and explain what that means. Show me where the Glazers have brought key decision makers in that are football people. Show me where they've brought in directors of football. Show me where they had the structure changed to a modern day process where the manager essentially becomes a head coach. Please show me that lawyer. Is that Roy with an L? Because for the L, your comment, I don't know. You need to let me know. 2 cups in 2 years. Let's go win another. And look, that is one element that is certainly in the favor of Erik ten Hag. 2 trophies in 2 years, 3 trophies in 2 seasons, 3 finals, in 2 seasons. And that surely has gone on to help him. What I also think has helped Ten Hag is those changes that he made to the team from the Arsenal game onwards. There was a difference. He made some fundamental changes to how we played, and we improved, won our final 2 games of the season, and beat the best team in the world in the FA Cup final. That has probably gone a long way to helping him save his job. It's as simple as that for me. The Glazers would have sacked him, so it's the opposite. Oh, yeah. I mean, the Glazers, listen, it is people comparing Ineos to the Glazers at this point. It's either stupidity, naivety, trolls, or fools. One of those 4 things. That's all it can be. This was weak from Man U. Well, we're not called Man U. We're called Man United. So we're not going to talk anymore on that. Please don't use that disrespectful term about my club. Nothing would change at United regardless of the manager, Terry. But much has changed already. Why are we ignoring all the change at the club already? The most important change, the structure, the culture, the management, and no longer got marketing experts and bankers and accountants. No disrespect to Neeks, who's backstage, he's an accountant, making football decisions at the football club. To ignore those changes is crazy to me. This year says, but wouldn't you say he stumbled on those changes? If Bruno didn't get injured, he would have even listen, you can make the argument about anything in life. You can look at anything good and look for, imagine if that goal goes in. Imagine if he doesn't make that substitution. Imagine if this player didn't leave another club, or imagine if this weren't quite offside. We can all do if, buts, and maybes. We can do that, and there is some validity in the if, buts, and maybes. It's a really important part of the football discourse. However, he did make the changes, and those changes were not made because Bruno Fernandes got injured per se. It was the system. It wasn't the personnel. It was tucking the inside forwards into the midfield out of possession. That was the fundamental change. He'd moved Bruno back into his natural position weeks before that. Bruno was performing well, but we weren't winning enough because the system, it's the shape as opposed to Bruno personally. But thank you very much. Really good comment and challenge there, my friend. Erik ten Hag in. Tony Koopmeiner's agent sorry, I don't know who that next name is. I think you mean Xerxes, maybe. Todibo Branthwaite is who you want. Big up Lucky Singh. You're obviously excited. If you're Elise, where do you go, Chelsea or United? Listen, Man United. There is a space just there, glistening, waiting for you to come and impress us with your silky, silky skills. KJ's coming on now. Neeks, I think Neeks is coming on. I think Neeks might have frozen. I can see the screen is frozen. Oh, he's back. He's back with me. KJ and Neeks here with me. Big news, gentlemen. KJ, what's your instant reaction to Ten Hag staying?
Oh, it's finally over. It's finally over. This has been the longest season review I've ever seen in my life. But we've got to a conclusion now, and that's the main thing as Man United fans, is that we now know where we stand. We now know where we stand, which is Ten Hag staying. For many of us, that is at the start of this process, it would have been sack him straight away. As the review went on, as time went on, and you see the people that we're linked to, the targets that we're linked to, it very quickly became, yeah, you know what? You got to stay. You got to stay. If it's not for a Tuchel, if you're not actually going to take a risk on De Zerbi or a McKenna, then Ten Hag, he's got to stay, and he's staying. And as someone who wanted him to see him gone due for many reasons, I'm not overly vexed. I'm not saying this is over. My main thing is that now that we've got the manager secured and we know what we're going to do, let's actually now start building as a team, as a club. Let's go out there and get the players that Ten Hag says he needs to play the football that he needs to play. Because that's one thing he said. I ain't got the players to play Ajax style. I ain't got the players to play a better brand of football. Well, with these new recruitment guys now, with Wilcox, with Barada, with Ashworth come in, let us go get this guy players that actually can play better football and see what he's made of. He's won 2 trophies in 2 years, and I commend him for that. Absolutely commend him for that. Now it's time to see if you can now evolve from what you've been showing us the last 2 seasons and make us contend for the Premier League and the Champions League. Those are the aims. Those are the aims. So, as a United fan, I'm neither jumping over the moon, but I'm not down in the pits. I'm like, okay, cool. Now let's go build. Let's go rebuild this club and let's go again. And who knows? Now with this stability, the players that we've been linked to might look at it and be like, yo, they kept their manager who's won them trophies. And maybe I want a bit of that, you know? So we'll see, man. We'll see. But hey, as long as he changes, Terry, I'll say this last part. Head coach is huge. Now, if he can handle that new role, that's brilliant for Man United. That's brilliant for the Ineos. That's brilliant for everyone, right? But the key part is the style of play. If Wilcox is coming in and saying we're playing a certain style, Erik Ten Hag has to fulfill that. No longer do we want to see a island in midfield, a polo in midfield. We can't see that no more. We want to see a better structure defensively. We want to see a better structure going forward, more fluid attacks, more goals, less goals conceded. And I guarantee you, anyone who was Ten Hag out will happily revert into being Ten Hag again.
Absolutely. Neeks, what's your take on this, bro? By the way, where are you, bro? You look somewhere really good.
I am I'm in Trinidad and Tobago.
Nice. Yeah, I could tell you were not in England with that sunshine, bro. You were not here.
Yeah, nice. It's warm. It's rainy season, start of the rainy season, so it's been pelting it down earlier, but it's warm. The cricket's tomorrow, West Indies against New Zealand, so yeah, I'm here for the cricket, and then I fly over to St. Lucia on Friday for some more cricket. So
nice.
I hope you got the good weather like I did. I don't know.
It's been raining today. It's been raining, but what do you make of this news, bruv? I know you've never been someone that's been sort of on the back of Ten Hag. What do you make of him staying?
I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm so happy. Happy New Year, as Pep Guardiola would say. No, for me, and I've said it for a while, the only way I would be happy about changing manager at this stage, especially after winning the second, win the FA Cup. Even before that, I was already Is that music in the background a bit too loud for you? Look? I can hear it.
It's a little bit loud, yeah.
Okay, let
But
me.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I think for me, yeah, the only way I would have been happy with Ten Hag being replaced is if the manager option was a clear upgrade. So for me, as I said before, CV. What have you got on your CV? Have you got a Champions League? Have you won a Premier League? What's your credentials? And for me, the options other than Tuchel were looking very bleak. It was De Zerbi, it was Southgate, it was McKenna, and I was so underwhelmed by those that in the end, I was like, no. In the end, I was happy for Ten Hag to stay because if the other option was Southgate, the other option was McKenna, then for me, a manager who's won 2 in 2 years, what's the odds on that next managerial appointment, other than if it's a clear upgrade in terms of their history? What is the odds on the next manager be better? There's no evidence to suggest other than just, well, let's hope and pray. Southgate is hope and pray. De Zerbi's hope and pray. So I'm happy that we haven't made a sideways and potential backward step, which I think a lot of those manager options would have been. Am I happy that Ten Hag stayed? I'm happy under the circumstances, but I'm not necessarily happy as a Man United fan because to finish 8th and not be challenging for Premier League in the last couple of years, and the football was dire in the last season, I can't be happy with that. But I'm damn sure happier than I could have been if the worst came and England, let's say England won the Euros. Southgate goes out in a blaze of glory and Ineos are like, yes, that's the man we want. I would have been absolutely fuming. So for me, Ten Hag, and I'll probably go into a bit more detail as the show goes on, but for me, Ten Hag his position has been chosen by Ineos. They've gone through whatever review, they've decided X, Y, Z. Maybe there was a specific manager who they thought, that's the one we actually want. But after all the interviews and all the discussions, they've decided, no, we're going to continue with Ten Hag. And they're talking about a potential contract extension. I'm very content with that. It doesn't mean the pressure's off. The expectations are still going to be there. He needs to deliver, he needs to improve. But I tell you, I said it could be a damn sight worse than keeping Ten Hag. So I'm happy right now.
Yeah, look, I said all along I was going to be sort of objectively supportive of the decision, but I am happy it's not Southgate. There are a few other candidates we were linked to. Listen, I know he's got a better CV, but I wasn't overly infused by the idea of Thomas Tuchel. There's something about it where I don't think it's going to work out, where De Zerbi would have had me more excited. But what I do think is interesting about this, and we know what the media are going to say. The media are going to sort of suggest this is what's going to come out in the papers in the next few days, because the media have been kept in the dark, absolutely kept in the dark, and that's going to trigger them. So obviously what's happened today is the club have obviously given some information to David Ornstein. No other journalist knew about it, and they've said he's staying. The media will start to twist it into United shat the bed last minute. United could land their target, so they've been forced into staying with him. I don't think that's true in any capacity. I think we have, for the first time in a decade, we have completed genuine due diligence. We have been methodical. We have overturned every single stone. Yes, there may have not have been other candidates that we prefer available, but that's nobody's fault. That's not shit in the bed. That's not making a mistake. I think they've reviewed the manager market. They've looked at the manager they've got, the changes they're bringing in. They've interviewed and spoken to a lot of people and said, for now, and the direction we're going in, this is the best option for us. And like I've said, it's not what I would have done. I still probably would have moved on from him for a speedier progression, but it's not about what I want. It's about saying I trust the individuals that are now running our club. So I'm going to be cool. I'm going to be calm and collected about it, and let's see what happens. And as KJ said, if we get some good players this summer, I want to see no excuses next year for the style of play not being better. We saw at the end of last season, and the good thing about it being Ten Hag is not that we want to have no patience, but I don't think it should take as long for us to see further improvements, because we made changes towards the end of last season and we saw better shape, harder to break down. We won our last 3 games, which led to a trophy, which nobody expected us to win. Buy right this summer, which we're hopeful that we will do. And I want to see a massive marked improvement on how we play and how we operate. What I will say about Ten Hag is I don't want to see any whinging or moaning from him, because he's accepted his fate, which is that he is no longer the manager and he's the head coach. We know that's the setup that we're going with. And I just want to see him kind of crack on and get on with that as an example. So, look, from my point of someone here, Terry, stop falling. I want to say this, and Neeks will remember this because he's been around long enough, and probably KJ. When people like Red Cam say this to me, part of me thinks it might be a troll. Then I think maybe it's someone new. But the due diligence element, this stuff I've been calling out for the best part of a decade. For the best part of a decade, I've been calling this stuff out where Manchester United don't. The first instance, a player looks great. Oh, I like this player, or I like this manager, or I like this approach we're going with. And then it all goes to pot. And then all the truth starts to come out surrounding the situation. And we all look at it and go, well, why do we even hire X, Y, or Z? Why do we make this decision? Why do we do this? How have we not done our due diligence on the situation? So the fact that we didn't rush this process, we interviewed people, we've taken our time, that fills me with so much more confidence. And to answer your point, Red, because we have not done this before. And that's why the United fans panicking so far in this very short summer thus far have confused me, because we're suddenly acting completely different to how we've seen in the last decade. That should fill you with so much more hope. Doesn't mean we're back and we're going to win the league next year, but it's just fill you with hope that we're going to start moving in the right direction. But that's just my view on it. We know the media is going to come for us now, but that's typical from this point. Matt, I know you've got to shoot because you said you're only here for a second. What do you want to say, bro?
Yo, Terry, big up to the terrace. I'm so pissed about this news. I wanted to see Southgate in the dugout at Old Trafford. No, but seriously, I think this is probably the correct move from a Manchester United perspective. I think Ten Hag has done wonders in the negotiations to actually get a contract extension, because I don't think Man United or Sir Jim would have particularly wanted that. But hey, fair play to him. I think if he changes his play style into what Manchester United want, I think there's a big chance that he does, stay for a few years, because I think he's brought 2 trophies in 2 years, and that's something Arteta hasn't even done at Arsenal for about 4 or 5 years. So yeah, big up to him. I just wish Southgate was it.
Matt, sorry, Matt.
Sorry, go on, Neeks. Go on, Ruff.
Yeah.
You're not going to get away with this. You have been spouting all summer.
Bro, I'm keeping quiet. I'm keeping quiet.
Can I land? You've been spouting all summer in the group chat, all spring, in the group chat. Southgate is happening. Southgate happening. I'm putting money on it. I'll make a bet. Are you scared? Are you worried? I told you. Sources, brown sources, HP, Heinz, everything, all the sources. Yeah, here we are. I told you, Southgate ain't coming. Southgate
can still happen,
It could.
It
could still happen. But Ten Hag could get sacked halfway through the season, and Southgate becomes available because Southgate's already said that he's leaving his England job.
He didn't say that. He said if England don't win the Euros, so obviously you're predicting England's win the Euros. Fair enough. But you told me it's happening now. As a matter of fact, the deadline was supposed to be end of May. I thought end of May with the deadline. So we're already late. But you told me it's happening.
I thought there's an announcement. Coming.
This was it. This must have been it. This must have been the announcement. What's going on, man?
I heard Ratcliffe, all these guys are homies with him. It's going to happen for sure.
Bro, you can all cook me. It's fair. It's fair game.
Do you know what it is though, Matt? Do you know what it is? I know who gave you that information, but he's a really good guy. He gets a lot of things right. He gave me that information as well. But as I keep saying to you in the group chat, right? No one knows everything. And even the sources that, me and you both have access to the same individual, and he's very good at what he does, things change. So some will say maybe we could shit the bed. There could be another view where the club have gone, do you know what, we were up for this. And then you've interviewed the person and you say, absolutely not. I don't know about you, Matt, you're quite young, but most of the gentlemen on here have done this where they've met a girl, liked her, been chatting, texting, phoning, then you meet to go on the date and you're a little bit into it and you're like, oh, This ain't what I thought it was going to be. That is what.
Yeah, no, I have been there before.
You have been. I'm just.
Lincoln,
I
you know
don't
about that, bro.
because-
You know about
I'm
that,
just,
Lincoln?
I'm just checking because I weren't sure if the V plates were there. I'm not sure. You're young, you know how it is, bro. But the point I'm making is that things change in real time, and it's why I know I get cooked for it all the time because we do videos where we state what a journalist has said, and that seems to trigger some really low IQ people. But it's one of those, especially the comment section. I'm talking about my trolls, not the actual football terrorist community. You guys are great. But it's one of those things where you've sometimes, I very rarely go all in because you just never know. 24 hours ago, you were convinced about Sesko and you knew Southgate was coming. 24 hours later, and you're trying to tell us in the group chat that Arsenal had no interest in Sesko and you were joking about Southgate. Do you know what I mean? You just got to hold that one, Matt. You got to hold that one.
Well, I think on, Ten Hag, I think it comes down to there was just a lack of coaches available. And I think had there been, like a big name, I don't think Ten Hag would have survived. I think that's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah, but
Your days on the terrace are numbered, mate. Your days on the terrace are...
My days on the terrace are numbered.
Well, listen, Matt, you say that, but most of us on here were pretty much already knew that anyway. Like, it's not nothing, it ain't some insights that we don't really understand.
Of course. I'm just giving my opinion on that.
Our beliefs about who the manager might or might not have been, we took all that into account. So it's not like today we woke up, oh, they've only kept him because XYZ manager wasn't available. Like, we knew that the market was trash. Hence why I was saying from early, I was like, I don't believe. Listen, I'm not saying they didn't talk to Southgate or sound him out, but I refuse to believe that after maybe doing interviews or whatever it might have been, any competent board could come to a decision and say, you know what, Southgate's the right man for Manchester United. Like, I refuse to believe it. So that's why I just put a part that to one side. Maybe it was my own.
But the fact he was even considered is surely a red flag.
No, it's not.
Like, the fact his name is even in Manchester United conversations.
But it is and it isn't, right? Like, I'm not a big fan of him, but me and Canadian Cam spoke about this the other day, and of course, we can be. I know we all do it in the fan content community at times. We can be hyperbolic, we can be extreme, but I have been happy that we have conducted this process. Although people say it's disrespectful to Ten Hag, it isn't. The job's changing. If you work for an organization and you might have a job, but if your job role no longer exists, you get made redundant. What then happens is sometimes you get offered redundancy or you get the opportunity to re-interview for a role. The problem that I find is either people are naive because they haven't lived yet. They haven't had proper jobs. They haven't worked in proper organizations, or they're just being deliberately stupid. They're just playing it down. Ten Hag essentially has been re-interviewed for a new role at Man United. And the most important thing you can do in that process is speak to other people. It also turns out, and it was said before this news broke about Ten Hag, so no one can claim that it's after the fact, that Southgate's not officially spoke to any single football club. The biggest connection to us was that Dan Ashworth and Southgate are really close. There has never been a single public report. There's been things said behind the scenes, as you know, you and I both know, but not a single published article by anyone credible. As far as I'm aware, if there's been one, please send it to me. I've not read it, where there is talks of meetings and discussing what they're going to do. There's been some of those reports with De Zerbi. There's definitely been those reports with Tuchel, but we've had none of that with Southgate. So they were fairly loose links anyway. But listen,
it's pretty much been hearsay, like in terms of the stuff behind the scenes and whatnot.
Oh, now it's hearsay, Matthew.
Wow.
Now it's hearsay.
Canadian Cam's
No, hearsay as in it's not been publicly, out there, like is what I'm trying to say.
That's what hearsay means, but it's okay, my brother. It's okay.
Yeah, happy to listen to the defeat now. Yeah, it's cool.
KJ, I'll send you a voice note later on tonight.
I won't be listening to that.
Oh my days, he'll be in bed.
You won't be listening. So you're gonna leave me on read.
He'll be in bed with one point. Yeah, yes. Well, you can call it hearsay. Hearsay means something heard from another. So that's literally, you know, I mean, Matt got told by his brother, innit? That's what it was. His brother told him at work.
You're my
Canadian,
man,
Yeah,
man.
but that's kind of what I was like referring to. But yeah,
I get you. Canadian Cam's here with us.
Right, in a bit.
What do you make of this news, my man?
It's interesting because like obviously at some point everybody was Erik Ten Hag out, I included. You know, we conceded so many shots. You're just like, this isn't sustainable. We all hit that point, right? But you know what was probably the best thing for the fan base, and I hope it unites us, was the Southgate rumors. Because Neeks said it best. I remember one time he's like, we all deserve this. If this happens, like you all, like we deserve this. Like this is on, like everybody, we asked for this. Like if that were to happen, people could be upset, but we all asked for it. We're all like, oh, Ten Hag out, not thinking about it could get worse. And I stand by what I said about the whole Southgate thing, where it's like, I don't know if he's going to be good or bad based on this new system. I've never seen him, whatever. I don't have that British pain with him. So it's not like I'm going to say all of a sudden, ooh, I thought it was going to be the worst. But here's some food for thought, where it's like, when you think about the whole Ten Hag situation from 2022 season on, I'm going to put out some win percentages here. You have 71%. That's obviously 73%. That's Guardiola. 71%. That's Arteta. Klopp 56%. Emery 55%. Not bad. And then our boy Erik Ten Hag 53.9. So 54%. Other managers in there, you look at, he's got a better win percentage than Tuchel did. He has a better win percentage than Ange, Conte. Robert De Zerbi is sitting at a beautiful 37.1%. Now, listen, people can be like, oh, the team he played in was like whatever, is Brighton. I get that. But that was a manager that everybody was saying all of a sudden we were going to be better with. And I was one of the people who said consistently, I'm not sure he is. I don't even want him. I'm on record saying I don't actually want Robert De Zerbi. I don't care how good he plays. It's like he's got some fraudulence to him too. So I think this is the best news for us, especially the way it went down. Like, I can't wait for like this thing. People are calling it copium. They're calling it whatever. It's like, we briefed the media months ago saying Erik Ten Hag's going to go through a review at the end of the season. That was briefed. It was known. It was out there. It was told. And then out of nowhere, somebody decided to put out there Erik Ten Hag sacked no matter what. Everybody ran with it because in the past, that's what happens with United. That news gets out and it turns out to be true. It's a leak. Everybody believes it. You had Jim being asked, and everybody, he's like, man, like I'm not answering these questions because that's not what we do now. As we've seen, we were always going to interview managers. Tuchel was putting himself out there for us, saying, "Oh, I'd love the job." Poch, we know Poch wants the job. He's been wanting the job. So because we went through a review of Ten Hag and then interviewed other managers does not mean we wanted 100% to get rid of him. It was like you said, we had to listen to other managers and be like, well, what are you bringing to the table? This interview process. Are you the right guy? Because if you are, then yeah, we'll hire you. I'm not saying that in no way, shape, or form that Ineos wanted Ten Hag for sure the whole time. That's bullshit. Of course they didn't. They were looking at other managers for a reason. And then they came to the conclusion, we're better off just staying put right now. This guy's got a better win percentage. Like at the end, when he had some players, there are a few things that are staying on his record where it's like, why weren't you playing Amrabat? Why were you playing Amrabat at right back? Certain things. I think those conversations have to happen in broad day. They have to be like, how you handled Sancho can't happen again. They have to have certain conversations that are like honest. But when we won the FA Cup, one thing that kind of stuck out, and again, one game doesn't make or break here. By no way did that one game make or break him. But that one game, we did see something. The players made sure he got that trophy. The players were behind him. They were there. They did have his back. And I think that's really important because there is going to be a clear out of a bunch of players he doesn't want. Like, listen, crazy thing is Scott knew he wanted him out, and he played still hard for the manager. Like Maguire knew he wanted, he still played hard for the manager. So there's players there that knew they weren't even wanted, and they still played hard. So he can't be the worst manager in the world when it comes to man management that everybody thinks just because of one situation with Sancho. So at the end of the day, roundabout way of saying this is probably for the best. I don't agree. I will say this right now. I don't agree with him getting a new contract. But if he does get a new contract, I would hope that these new people in charge are going to do what they've been doing with like even the new contracts. They like the sell-on clauses and the buybacks with Albert. I would hope they give him an out clause in there where it's like, listen, you get your contract, but if we let you go, we ain't paying you. Like you get a 100K walkaway fee or something. Then I'm cool with giving him an extension because you know what? It's the same as saying you're still on trial, but now we're not on the hook for paying you.
You know the thing is, Cam, in terms of the new contract, is that you kind of based on if we take the view that they've done, obviously we're basically restructuring. Effectively, we're restructuring, and as Terry was saying earlier, in a restructure, you can offer redundancy, we'll pay you to leave, or you can apply for the new job. Effectively, Ten Hag has, and I've seen tweets from I think it's United Faithful, and I've taken kind of thought from that. I thought it makes sense. If we're asking him to say basically reapply for the new job, and we're going to take other candidates as well, they can apply. We'll do interviews, including you, and we'll come to the decision. And we're saying, all right, Ten Hag, you're the one we've chosen out of all the people that we've interviewed. It's a new job. It's a new job he's applied for. So effectively, you actually need a new contract because his current contract is manager of Manchester United, and it's got certain things that, like, he has control over. He's got control of certain transfers, etc. So he kind of needs a new contract with a new job title and a new job roles. So he's going to be head coach without control over X, Y, Z, and whatever other details are in it. So you kind of need a new contract if the process is going to be a legitimate process.
Yeah.
It don't have to be a long one, though. It might just be a 2-year contract.
I agree. And manager contracts can have all sorts of interesting things in there. You know, there could be elements of his contract that, you know, certain I know that for a very famous manager, Harry Redknapp had this, and multiple managers still do, where they get percentage for players that are sold on, and their managers are very integrated into the club in that way. And there'll be more to the new deal than just we're backing him. It might be that he gets a pay rise because he's having other elements taken out that save us money in the medium to long term as well. And I think that, you know, that's why for me, I'm not really worried about that element as of right now. Because there's more to come through. What I'm loving the most are people in the comment section that are saying, Terry, you're in the mud. I'm not. I just didn't get what I wanted. You know, I didn't get what I wanted in the manager just yet. But as I've said, and this is why I know you guys in the comment section are triggered, because I told you all, whoever became a manager, I wasn't going to be showing my ass. I wasn't going to be going over the top happy or crazy with anger, no matter who it was. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to trust the people making decisions at my club because they're the most... People don't like hearing this because it isn't sexy. But the people running the club are the most important people at the club. There is not one there's not one poorly run sports organization or team in the world that wins consistently. There just isn't one. Not in a competitive top-level league. So you need competent people running your club. Without that, you failed, irrespective of how much money that you spend. The Man United are proof of that as an example. So I did get what I want in reality. And we'll see now how Ten Hag operates. I'm going to go to Lincoln in a minute. I want to go to a few comments here. This one says from CeeLo. He says, I'd rather Ten Hag than any of the bums we were linked to. If an upgrade becomes available, he can go. Southgate, nah. Well, do you know what this does do? It does give me slightly renewed hope that Xabi Alonso might be the manager next summer, depending, of course. Looking, I will be honest, though. I want Ten Hag to kill it. I want to get to the end of next season and be like, we've got to keep this man. I love him. We're amazing. That's my first choice. I want to be successful. But
I want that celebration. I want to see this.
Yeah. The only thing I do want to make sure I ask him to do is you're too old to wear no socks with a suit. That's the only criticism I had on the FA Cup final days. You're too old to not wear socks. I cut my hair. Long time no see, brother. He said, by the way, I've heard rumors that Colleen may be back in the UK soon. Just putting it out there for you, bruv. Just heard some rumors. She might be back soon. Calm down, Lincoln. No chance, mate. No chance. This here from Grey Wolf's Dinner. He says, your club is finished. Keep believing the PR. Your club is going in the right direction because all I see is Radcliffe joining in with the Glazers on the money heist. I don't see the ambition. But there is no PR that we're going in the right direction because the media is kind of saying what you're saying, Grey Wolf's Dinner. The club are telling us what they're doing, but I can't remember I don't know if you've seen it, Neeks, KJ, the article after article after article telling us that we're going in the right direction and we're going to be brilliant. Like,
To be fair, we've been slagged off quite a bit for this entire time since they've been here. The whole thing with obviously Radcliffe trying to split out the club and the staff and the change of standards of the normal staff in the club. We've been getting trashed for that. People have been calling us a disgrace for that. So this whole thing of PR, there's not been PR. It's literally just been the people against Man United as per usual.
Yep.
Yeah, I did a video yesterday on it and got cooked because all the media was saying that we're a shambles, it's chaotic, it's a mess, and I don't believe that we've had all this. I'll get a bit of echo from someone who's coming from Lincoln, I think. But yeah, listen, I listen. As ever, I appreciate you being a member, my bro. But I mean, you're a Chelsea fan. I mean, I'd love to ask you this question because I haven't asked you, Grey Wolf Dinner. Like, do you feel like your club's giving you loads of PR? Do you buy into that? Is it like a reflection because you don't like your club's PR and you think Man United doing the same? Are you like Don and Ched's Chelsea fans that think you're absolutely moving in the correct and right decision? I have to mute you again, Lincoln. I'm getting the echo from you, bruv. Earphones, my G. So let us know, Grey Wolf's Dinner. I want to thank Daniel, 35 months as a member. He's also gifted 5 memberships out to some of you lucky people this evening as well. So thank you. Joshua here says, let me say this. If Ineos think he's the man, cool, because I trust the footballing people in charge, but he will be the most under pressure manager in the league. Build off the FA Cup, no backwards, only forwards. This is true. Yeah, very true.
Second most. Know why? Because United have not come out and said what Chelsea has said, where they expect Champions League, Premier League. Like, we have not briefed the media once and said that our expectations are to grow with the manager. And remember, you said it actually, I think we were chatting the other day, where you're like, if that's true, if we're just looking for a manager to build with, if we're going to go just get might as well just stick with Erik ten Hag. Because if that's the truth, then that's what you're already doing. So I think Chelsea's manager is under the most pressure because they put it on him. Like, listen to Ches and all these guys. They're like, I expect us to be better than Liverpool. Like, with Ches saying these things, I'm coming out and saying, my brother, if you just get me top 4 and you don't have 111 XGA, which is crazy over 2 years, like, if you can just get it to a place where we look solid, keep us in these tournaments, keep making it to finals, show progression that way, I'm cool. And that's like, people will go lower standard. It's like, no, because we're winning the trophy. So now I think we can all agree on is we want to see sustainable football. I think if we were to go into next year and not win a trophy, but we finished 3rd, looking better, looking like we would all be like, cool. And it's weird because it's not progression because you didn't win a trophy, but it is in a sense of what we're looking for.
Yeah, the thing with the point about pressure is that everybody talks up their team until the pressure arrives and then nobody wants it. And I'm talking fans here, not clubs per se. You know, you'll get, and I don't like mentioning Chelsea because I'm not putting all Chelsea fans into this category, but if I still get the Chelsea fans just in our group chat to give some context to the audience, that a lot of the Chelsea fans in the group chat are absolutely adamant they're going to be flying high next year. It's all going in the right direction. It's amazing. But when you start asking for genuine predictions, it all becomes, but we'll have to see. And if this happens, so the confidence ain't really there. I don't want any statements like that from Ineos about this is what we're going to do. Ten Hag promised us we're going to challenge for the title next year. If he said it privately, great. Do not put it out into the media. Do not apply that extra pressure that doesn't need to be there. Charlie here says, my main knock against Ten Hag was that seeing how much better United looked at the end of the season and the FA Cup, why didn't he make those changes sooner? But I will back him next season. I don't think any of us disagree with that. If those changes would have come sooner, it could have looked different. Ivan here, hope you're well. Ivan says, honestly, if you knew your job was your bosses were desperate to fire you, despite your best efforts with the resources provided, would you still feel committed to that job or continue giving your best efforts? It's a difficult question to ask me because the answer is yes. If I commit to do something, I'm very loyal in that way. So if I'm pissed off to a point where I don't want to work there, I leave or I find a way out. But if I say, actually, I'm going to stay, I'm committed, I stay and I'm committed. So me as an individual, there's never been a company I haven't worked for where I haven't been what I call a stick of rock. where if you cut me open, it would say the football terrace through me. When I was at Barclays, I was that kind of employee. So I'm a bit of a company man when I work there, if that makes sense. It's just, I view it this way. You're giving me an opportunity to pay my bills, feed my kids. I'm going to run through a brick wall for you. I don't like these. I don't like employees. I think it's just who act like they're doing you a favor by turning up to work. That's never my way. So, look, I would still be committed because I'm committing to the job. That's the point. Does that make sense? If Ten Hag doesn't feel committed, he shouldn't be accepting the job. He can't moan about it in 6 months. Oh, I'm struggling this season because they nearly sacked me and I didn't feel like they loved me. Then you should leave now, my bro. So yeah, that won't cut it for me. Stop deflecting. United fans were served crap today. But this is what I love. No one is deflecting because, as I said at the top of the video, there are question marks over this. There are concerns over this. There are worries because of how poor we were for large parts of last season. But there was not a single other manager we were linked to where there wasn't the same or different, but equally as many question marks hanging over the situation. And this is what rivals either are not listening to or ignoring. It matter. The only element that matters if we fail with Ten Hag staying or the new appointment is that particular head coach has failed. The structure is now being put in place where we're going to be able to go from manager to manager without changing the direction, the style of football, and more importantly, the profile of player that we are buying. The issue and the risk in previous appointments or renewals of contracts is that if it went wrong, we'd go off on a new tangent and go off on a new direction. And again, consistency is key from content creators. And this is the message I pushed for the better part of a decade, that we had no clear plan as a club. Now we're setting that clear plan as a club. I am less concerned about who the manager is because you are in a position where you can go, you've not done a good enough job. You're out. The new person comes in and picks up the reins and keeps going in that direction. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. We no longer have a manager-based system where the club is built in the image of the manager. We're having a head coach. That is the biggest and best news that Man United fans could have ever hoped for. We're now acting like a club in the 21st century, and I love it. And Nabeel here says, in your face, take another L.
We never take L's, man.
There's no L to take.
Yeah, must be some with other people that had a opinion on Ten Hag. Listen, and that's kind of been my lead. That's kind of going to be my lead into it actually. Like, there's so much people on here, or in the Marina family tonight. They were leading this chart of what trust of persons at Ineos, and they had that with the thought that Ten Hag was going to stay, or that Ten Hag was going to leave. But now this guy's staying. This is going against everything that they're preaching, everything that we've been battling with Ten Hag in fans about. And now this guy's going to stay. And now they've lost it. I've been through the timeline. They've lost their heads, bro.
The thing is, Lincoln, is that everybody actually cares. And Nabeel, I respect him. He super chatted the channel. I respect that element. But too many people care about their opinion and or their demand being right. It is an arrogance. I haven't got what I wanted with the manager, but I'm not throwing my toys out the pram. There is absolutely zero.
None of us. When you just look at the market, none of us were gonna get that. None of us were gonna get that right now. We looked at Tuchel, we looked at Pochettino, we looked at them for years. Like we weren't gonna get that this season with the manager market, and this is the decision that Ineos are taking, and this is the first big decision that they've made now, and I don't know. Yeah, the family's just divided. I mean, as per usual.
Exactly, but it isn't divided. The fan base isn't divided. Individuals online are angry that they haven't got the toy for Christmas that they wanted. You ever seen those videos of kids that go viral who swear at their parents on Christmas Day when they didn't get the toy they wanted? That's what people are doing right now. There is no objectivity to it. And what I'm loving the most is people saying, Terry, you're waffling, you're backtracking on what you've said. I haven't. I've been saying this for about 3 months, that no matter what we do, I'm behind the decisions of the football makers at the club. And that's it. Yes, I wanted the manager gone, but what did I also say Maradon. You're on all my streams, you know. Macavia says, we've kept a manager that finished 8th. What clear plan do they have? Well, watch it. We haven't. Everything that was going on at the back end of last season. Everything that was going on at the last season was last season and prior to that, plan of action, structure. All the football decision makers have only just joined the club. Some aren't even here yet. None of the new plan is underway. Give it time, Macavia. Give it time.
You know the thing is, Terry, because I think obviously in publicly it looks messy because we haven't been fed information. So there's 2 ways to look at it. I'm happy we haven't been fed information, but because we haven't been fed information, reliable information, it looks like Man United don't know what they're doing. Ten Hag's being disrespected. They're doing all this behind it. How must Ten Hag feel? But when you actually deep it, and I said it's not me who's kind of just come up with this belief. But when you actually deep it, at the end of the season, Ten Hag said, I've spoken a couple of times actually, even before the FA Cup final. I've spoken to the board, Ineos. They know exactly my plans. We've spoken about the summer, etc., etc. And then I think it was after the FA Cup final, he said, listen, I've spoken to them. If they don't want me, they just let me know. I'll go and win trophies elsewhere. So he already knew that, and he was informed about a process that's happening. He's basically saying, I've told them everything I've done. I've shown on the pitch, winning 2 trophies. Now it's up to them. He was very content to go on holiday the day after the FA Cup final and leave the decision in their hands, knowing within himself that he's going to be successful where he goes. So none of this has been happening behind his back, disrespectful. But because we don't have the information out there, it's perceived as it's messy. How does Ten Hag feel? It's disrespectful. He, as far as we could be, as far as we know, we don't know. He may well have been kept abreast of every single aspect of this process, but we have no information on it. And I'm happy we have no information on it because it doesn't need to be out there in public.
There's been a couple of times in the last few weeks where they even said Ten Hag is aware that this is happening. There's a report, I think, either today or yesterday, I think from Jay Birds from the Telegraph. He said Ten Hag knows that they're interviewing other people, but doesn't feel like it's a disrespect.
So here's the thing, too. This is the thing that people need to understand when they were asking Ten Hag, Ten Hag says he's in the dark and doesn't know what's going on. Anybody who's ever interviewed for a job, until you get the job,
you don't know what's
going to happen. So his response was simply saying,
it's the lack of logic to these comments. It's no one sits at home waiting to find out about the job interview going. It's so disrespectful that they're not giving me a minute by minute update on all the other candidates. It is ridiculous. It really, really is. And this comment here, I think, is brilliant from Cedric. He says the thematic review is complete. The media silence was beautiful. The revolution will not be televised. And these are the elements that Man United fans are just either ignoring on purpose or they're just not thinking about. The silence and the lack of clarity in the media means there isn't all this information leaking out. And listen, that Steinberg guy, he's been right about a lot of transfer stories in the past. I'm not saying he's a trash journalist, but I wonder how he is feeling right now after his big story on the eve of the FA Cup final.
Man, we don't need to worry about him, man. We don't need to worry about him.
100% saying that he has been sacked.
Man, bun.
Let me go tweet him quickly.
Kid Huggy here says that Kid Huggy here says Terry making excuses all because he wanted Ten Hag out. Can't moan about it in 6 months if he's not performing. No, I can. I will still criticize poor performances, and this is the point I'm making. It's not what I love about what we're doing is it's no longer about the manager. We've got a club process. And I mean, Neeks has been doing shows with me since 2016, 2017. This is all I've been asking for is get rid of the damn managers and have a club-based process. It's everything we need.
Yeah, Terry, I just want to say something real quick as well, because everyone is obviously coming at me, coming at you, because obviously how we've wanted Ten Hag out. Here's the thing. If we have had come on this channel screaming and raving angrily about Ten Hag staying, you guys will say we're hypocrites because we said we was going to trust the process and I'm not trusting the process. Now that we've come onto the channel and said, you know what, it wasn't what we wanted, but I'm going to go trust what they're doing, Now you're saying we're defeated, we're in the mud, and da. Guys, really and truly, let's be honest now, you
What is
dirty
it?
trolls. What do you actually want from us? Because we've actually been consistent. I'm sitting here, you're saying I look defeated. Bruv, it's flipping almost 20 past 11 in the UK. I'm flipping tired. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. I am just glad this process is over. Terry is glad this process is over and we can move on. So if you want to come at us that we were in the mud, hey, listen, we're bathing in it, baby, because we're going to rinse off tomorrow morning.
It's so true. It's what you're actually saying by continuing to say, is you've come here hoping to see us ranting and raving. But you're crazy to think you were going to see that from me when I told you all, no matter, even if we got the man, even if Zidane was announced tonight, I wouldn't be going mental. I would be in the same frame of mind that we've got to keep our heads down and be quiet. Charlie here says, for all those saying we took an L today, Ten Hag has 2 trophies in 2 seasons. I'll take that L for sure. It's a good point. Nabeel here says, laughing my ass off. He says they looked at 3 different styles of manager. What style are you talking about that they are trying to set? Where you getting? Sir Jim Radcliffe positivity.
May I? And I'm not going to be disrespectful because it's a super chat.
You can do to Nabeel. You can if you want.
Yeah. So here's the fucking deal. This shows you exactly what they've been saying the whole time is true, because they interviewed different styles of managers telling them, if you come to Man United, you are going to have to play this style most likely. They didn't interview them based on we're looking for their style. Something they have actually briefed the media and said, we are no longer going to build our team around a manager. We need to find the right manager to fit what we want. Meaning you would go through the due process of saying, hey, Tuchel, you think you can change up for us? Because you got a good CV. No, you don't want to? On to the next. Hey, De Zerbi, do you think you could do it? No, on to the next. That's how it works. You're not looking anymore for how many times do you have to fucking say it? Like, you are no longer looking for a manager to set the style.
Exactly. And this is the thing. There are so many Man United fans who I think have become almost addicted to the negative press, the negative media, the bad things, when something is a positive, which is this is the mad bit. We've been behaving like an out-of-date football club for a decade. We move into the modern world. We're at the beginning of that process, so it's obviously going to be slow. We're not going to be where City are inside a few months. We may never get to that point because you've still got to fulfill everything. But we're doing all the right things to begin with, and it's not enough. It's not enough. The lack of time, the lack of patience in people is crazy. Like I said, the way these individuals are behaving, it's like they expect after a week of lifting weights to look like peak Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's the way I see this. It's impossible. I've just started sprinting. I'm going to be faster Usain Bolt in a few weeks. You may never be that quick, even if you train every single day, but you got to work at these things. And Nabeel, I understand where you're coming from, but we didn't look at 3 different styles of managers. We have spoken to and listened to multiple managers from different backgrounds. It isn't just 3, by the way. Some that we've gone to, some whose agents have come to us, and we have sat down and listened to them, taken some of their advice, ask if they can deliver what we want. Based on who is available and interested in the Man United job right now, Ten Hag's been seen as the best bet, which, by the way, a lot of people predicted. You know, Pete, the Newcastle fan who comes on here, Henry Wright said it, goes, I think you might end up staying with who you've got based on what the club want and who's available. And that's also another very interesting element here. And it's not a dig at him. It's who else is available. Maybe people, they thought this guy'd be great, turned up to the interview and did a shocking job, or they didn't click, or we said this about De Zerbi. De Zerbi keeps saying he wants control over transfers. That for me straight away was, I think he might struggle. Poch, I want control over transfers. We've seen Tuchel kick off with not getting the kind of players that he wants. So all 3 of those guys straight away for me, that was the area where I thought, that's a worry, because we are not giving that power away anymore, because we've fouled 5 managers on the bounce by behaving in that way. So listen, I respect the super chat, Nabeel, but you've got to read the stories a lot more. You state all options, so one has to be right. I don't state all.
Host.
No, but I don't. Well, sometimes I play devil's advocate as a host, but I don't state all options so that I'm right. My opinion that I thought he would be dismissed is wrong. I've got that wrong. My reaction to it is that I wasn't going to show my ass if he stayed. So there's a difference between my opinion and my behavior, Nabeel. Crazy, we complain about Neeks. Cheers, mate. Cheers, Neeks. Enjoy your holiday, my bro. Speak soon, my man. Joshua Jack is perfect when he says this. He went crazy that we complain about leaks, but we want leaks. And this is
ridiculous, bro. Just ridiculous.
It's so true, but it's all they've got. Sometimes it's a bit like Man United fans have got Stockholm syndrome. There is Stockholm syndrome, and now there's nothing to moan about. They're going to moan about not being able to moan. It's crazy. Terry look unhappy in his head. He's still thinking Ineos. I don't think I look particularly unhappy, but there we go. Listen, Terry is a United plastic fan. That's a fact. Yeah. I mean, there's just cheers, bro. Great feedback. Enjoy your evening. Look, I want to say a big thank you to each and every single one of you that have tuned in. Please hit the like button before you leave. Please make sure you're subscribing. Back tomorrow, 11 a.m. with man like Ben Jacobs. So very much looking forward to that show with him. Until next time, this show I think is going to take you through to. Did you redirect this, KJ?
Yes, I did.
Where to?
To Hussam's channel.
Hussam's channel. So go and check that out and support my man over there. And we'll see you all again soon. Take care. Goodbye.